standing here at this point in time. I suppose to set into context the enormity of last Wednesday's statement about what the British did, trying to whitewash their sins and amnesty themselves for their crimes in our country during the conflict. In 1998 there was a political agreement, and at the heart of that agreement was the Human Rights Act, the European Convention on Human Rights. What that meant was that for the first time, with a backdrop of decades of cover-up and collusion and impunity and de facto impunity and rigged courts and rigged investigations, families could for the first time assert their rights. The central tenet and plank of the ECHR and the Human Rights Act, as part of the 1998 agreement, empowered families and give them agency. Agency to take on the state in inquests, in civil litigation, and to sue for the truth, what happened to their loved ones, and sue for justice, unimpinged. And what has happened is that families were able to reopen inquests. Families were able to argue that inquests that hadn't been heard during the course of the conflict, that used to be rubber stamped and covered up as justified, meant that when it came post-98, that soldiers and SAS and Crown agents involved in murder would be compelled to come before courts, could be cross-examined, could be discovery for all the facts and the planning and the operations of shoot to kill, where they decided all across this county and elsewhere that rather than make safe and effective arrest in line with the rule of law, they deploy the SAS not to take on people but to ambush them and hail the bullets, not to face them but to take them down. And accountability for that was sought. And what has happened since then is that the PSNI have been at the vanguard of fighting families. There are 900 civil cases lodged in the Belfast High Court by families seeking truth. The police ombudsman has 450 plus cases that has met the grave and exceptional threshold that warrant investigation into misfeasance in public office, into collusion, into cover-up and into wrongdoing. The retired officers headed up by the former heads of Special Branch have fought the families in the court to stop the ombudsman publishing. The rearguard action by the Tories and veterans presenting themselves as victims when they will be questioned in court openly about what they did. They don't want any of that. They've used national security, the cloak and smothering blanket, to cover up their sins. They've used closed material procedures and went into secret courts to prevent the truth coming out about collusion and state violence, to hide the agents across the board, to cover up. And now that families have fought tooth and nail for the last decade and a half and have inched forward and made progress, they've made the final move as a rogue state. They're a rogue state. They're the same as Pinochet, the same as all the other regimes that seek the amnesty themselves. That's what Britain has done. In the might and the power harnessed by NGOs and families more than anything and activists, to get to the truth, have made the ultimate decision of the ultimate cover-up. That's what last Wednesday was. Last Wednesday's running from the rule of law, from the people that preached this for decades about the rule of law and democracy, and when they're faced with it in open court about what they did in our country, what they did in these streets and across the villages and hamlets of the 6 counties, and even into the 26 counties with Dublin one end, they don't want to face into it. They don't want that truth out there. They don't want it laid bare. And they've made this decision about amnesty and everybody, because it's really about amnesty in themselves, protecting the truth from emerging, shielding the truth, using their sovereignty as a shield, and they're going to legislate for it in 3 months' time. This has been coming down the track because of what yous have done standing here as families, taking them on, challenging them, using the law, and using the Human Rights Act and the European Convention on Human Rights and the European Court. They don't want it. They're a rogue state, and they're running scared. And we 3 months to stop this and turn it around. And we need to turn our sights to the United States. That's where we need to turn this around. We need the people in there that have helped broker deals in the past to say to the British, you need to turn back. You're not going to get a trade deal. Never mind Brexit. This is bigger than Brexit. This is the cover-up of all cover-ups. It's the mother of cover-ups in Western democracy. They are a rogue nation acting in a rogue way, and we need to reverse it. So we need to put pressure on with everybody we have. We need to use lawyers. We need to use